We're just drowning in information these days, aren't we? It is so easy to feel completely lost. So today, we're going to take a look at why these huge, grand stories can feel so compelling, and more importantly, what we can do to think a little more clearly when we're faced with them.
So, what if it's all a script? I mean, that question is at the heart of so many of these huge theories out there. It's a really powerful idea, right? The thought that there's some kind of hidden narrative and we're all just playing our parts. Let's actually walk through one incredibly detailed version of a story just like this.
Okay, so let's just dive into one of these all encompassing narratives. Think of it like a five-act play, a story with a very clear beginning, a middle, and an end that some people believe explains pretty much everything that's happening in the world right now.
And wow, look at the scope of this thing. This is what hooks you, right? A full roadmap for the entire decade, from the collapse of institutions all the way to some kind of AI world brain. It's a lot. So let's break down each phase, one by one. Okay, phase one, controlled collapse. This might feel a little familiar to you. The core idea here is that our institutions, government, finance, media, are being made to fail on purpose. And the goal? To create so much chaos and fatigue that we the people will just cry out for a totally new system, any new system. And that feeling of fatigue just gets amplified in the next phase. According to this narrative, a huge global conflict isn't some accident. Nope, it's a deliberate tool to completely shatter the old world order. The whole point, according to this script, is to make everyone so desperate for things to just be stable again that they'll accept whatever solution is offered to them. Okay, so this is where things get, well, a little more sci-fi. This next step is often called Project Bluebeam. The theory goes that right at the peak of all this chaos, some massive psychological event is staged, something like a fake alien invasion, all designed to just erase old beliefs and unite the entire world under one new ideology. So, after this massive global reset, what comes next? Well, that's where the tech comes in. We're talking mandatory digital IDs, digital currencies, smart cities, all of it. According to the narrative, designed to create a system of total surveillance and control. And here we are, the final act of the script, the emergence of a global AI. And it's presented as the savior, the thing that will finally solve all of humanity's problems. The ultimate goal, at least in this story, is this complete fusion of our minds, our consciousness, with some kind of machine matrix. Okay, let's just stop, take a breath. After hearing a story that big, that complete, how do you feel? It's like cognitive whiplash, right? It's just so much to take in. So what do you even do with a feeling like that? That feeling, that kind of mental static, that's the point. It's almost like your brain's firewall is just trying to reboot after being flooded with a story so big and all-consuming that it completely overloads your ability to think critically. I love this quote. Nothing is real is the brain doing a rage quit, not a revelation. That's exhaustion wearing a trench coat. It just captures that feeling perfectly, doesn't it? That sense that nothing is real isn't some deep philosophical insight. It's a symptom. It's just burnout. It's your brain basically throwing its hands up and saying, I quit. So why? Why are these huge, all-encompassing stories so powerful? How do they get such a grip on us? Let's, pop the hood and see how this engine actually works.
A great way to think about these is as meaning engines. And look, they can serve a really useful purpose. They're great for helping us question authority and spot when things are genuinely broken. But the danger comes when they stop being a tool for thinking and they become an entire identity. And you see this pattern everywhere. Take a look at this table. It doesn't matter if it's a political conspiracy group, a spiritual movement, or some online forum. The promise is always some kind of secret insider knowledge. And the key failure point? It's almost always the same. Belonging to the group, your identity, becomes way more important than any actual evidence. Okay, so if we know these meaning engines can be a trap, how do we deal with them? How do you engage with these really big, compelling ideas without getting totally sucked in? Well, let's build ourselves a toolkit. I think a great way to think about this kind of info is like radioactive ore. There might be something valuable in there, but you gotta handle it with extreme care. So, first rule, keep the question but drop the conclusion. See patterns as hints, not final verdicts. And remember, if something is really true, It can survive a little bit of inspection. And maybe most importantly, you are always allowed to just say, I don't know. All right, here's a super practical tool you can use for pretty much any claim you come across. Think of it as your personal 4-layer filter. Just ask yourself these 4 questions. 1. Where's the authority coming from? Evidence or identity? 2. Is it even possible for this idea to be proven wrong? 3. How does it make me feel, calmer or angrier? And 4. What would happen if I just quietly walked away? This isn't going to tell you what's true, but man, it'll help you spot what's unhealthy to believe.
So what's on the other side? What happens when you actually step away from these big scripts? It's not this scary, empty void. It's just a different way of being in the world, one that's actually okay with a little bit of uncertainty, a little bit of ambiguity.
And this really gets to the heart of the difference between searching for truth and just adopting a belief system. The search for truth invites friction. It's messy. It survives being doubted. Belief systems, on the other hand, often need to be protected. They collapse when they're questioned. They're like a stage set.
Now, this doesn't mean you just check out and do nothing. Not at all. It's about a totally different kind of engagement. It's about noticing things without feeling like you have to recruit everyone to your side. It's about thinking without needing a final conclusion. And it's about tolerating that empty space of not knowing without rushing to fill it with the first available story. And that brings us to the final question, really. What is left when you stop chasing beliefs? When you let go of that constant need for a tidy, certain answer? What do you find instead? Maybe it's something quieter, something more grounded, and maybe, just maybe, something a little more real.